You've made yourself too easy to keep, too available, too predictable in your loyalty, your patience, your willingness to absorb things that should have had consequences long before now. The people around you, in your workplace, in your friendships, in your relationships, have registered all of it without saying a word. They don't fear losing you because nothing in your behavior has ever suggested that losing you was a real possibility. Niccolo Machiavelli spent his entire career studying the mechanics of value and how it gets quietly destroyed. What he found was precise, uncomfortable, and completely actionable. 7 principles, each one showing you exactly how to become the person nobody can afford to lose. Don't skip any part of this. One of these 7 is the exact reason someone in your life stopped treating you properly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 1. Endless availability is the fastest way to become invisible. You've been showing up for people who stopped showing up for you a long time ago. Every unanswered message you forgave, every inconsistency you absorbed, every time you made yourself available despite receiving nothing remotely equivalent, you were quietly teaching them that your presence carried no real cost. Niccolo Machiavelli observed in The Prince that a ruler whose presence was guaranteed was a ruler whose absence was never feared. He understood that anything offered without condition loses its perceived value almost immediately, not because people are ungrateful by nature, but because the human mind stops calculating the cost of something it never has to worry about losing. In a workplace, the person who stays available for every request, every interruption, every demand, eventually stops being treated as someone whose time is worth protecting. They become expected, and what is expected is never feared losing. Availability without selectivity removes the very scarcity that creates genuine appreciation. Machiavelli never advised cruelty. He advised precision. Start conditioning your presence. Let people feel, for the first time, what your absence actually costs. Number 2. You can't be replaced if you can't be replicated. You've been trying to be useful when you should have been trying to be irreplaceable. There's a difference, and it's almost the whole game. Useful people get used. Irreplaceable people get protected. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that the most secure position any man could occupy wasn't one handed to him by fortune or circumstance. It was one so thoroughly built on personal capability and individual virtue that removing him would create a gap no available alternative could fill. He called this quality virtuo, not virtue in the moral sense, but the specific, personal excellence that made a man distinctly and irreducibly himself. In any relationship, professional or personal, the people who are genuinely difficult to replace aren't harder working than everyone else. They bring something so specifically their own that the idea of substitution feels immediately inadequate to anyone who considers it seriously. Build the specific until replication becomes structurally impossible. Number 3. Mystery is not a game, it's a structural requirement of value. You've explained yourself to people who never asked for the explanation, revealed your plans before they were executed, shared your vulnerabilities with people who hadn't earned access to them. And in doing all of that, thoroughly, honestly, you remove the one element that keeps people engaged with something they don't yet fully possess. Niccolo Machiavelli observed in The Prince that the most strategically protected men he studied were the ones whose interior life remained genuinely private, not as performance, but as discipline. He noted that a prince who revealed every intention, every plan, and every emotional response handed his opponents the exact tools needed to anticipate and neutralize his next move before it arrived. What cannot be fully known cannot be fully assessed, and what cannot be fully assessed remains perpetually interesting, perpetually worth pursuing, perpetually worth protecting access to. In a friendship, in a relationship, In a professional environment, the person who's thinking nobody can entirely predict commands a quality of attention that complete transparency permanently destroys. Withhold something, not coldly, just enough that the picture of you is never entirely complete. Number 4. Your standards are the only thing that determines how you get treated. Someone in your life is treating you in a way you would never accept from a stranger, and you've been allowing it because the relationship feels too important to risk by drawing a real line. What you haven't calculated is what that relationship actually costs you every single day. The line stays undrawn. Niccolo Machiavelli was precise on this point in The Prince. A prince who allowed himself to be treated beneath his position didn't simply lose dignity in that moment. He lost the perception of authority that governed how everyone around him calculated their next move. Machiavelli identified contempt as the single most dangerous condition a ruler could fall into, more dangerous than being hated, because hatred at least implied that the person still registered as a threat worth opposing. Being treated carelessly isn't evidence that you're unloved. It's evidence that the people around you have stopped calculating the cost of that carelessness, because your behavior has never once made that cost visible. Your standards aren't rules you impose on others. They're signals you send about how seriously you take your own worth. Low signals produce low treatment, every time, without exception. Number 5. The person who can walk away owns every room they enter. You've stayed when you should have left, not out of loyalty, out of fear. Fear of the discomfort, fear of the gap, fear that walking away would confirm something you didn't want confirmed about your own willingness to protect yourself. Niccolo Machiavelli observed in The Prince that the man who could not walk away had already surrendered his position. Before the negotiation began, before the conflict arrived, before anyone in the room had said a single word. He noted that genuine leverage belongs entirely to the person for whom staying and leaving are both genuinely acceptable outcomes. The moment one option becomes unthinkable, the other party owns the dynamic. In a relationship, in a negotiation, in any human exchange where value is being quietly calculated, the person whose departure would be genuinely survivable to them holds every advantage over the person for whom it wouldn't. Build the life where leaving is survivable. Then watch how differently people treat the possibility of your departure. Number 6. Silence does what explanation never could. You've over-explained yourself to people who had already made up their mind before you started talking. In the explaining, the careful, thorough, genuinely honest explaining, you handed them something they were never supposed to have. The full map of your internal landscape, every doubt, every justification, every place where your certainty had a crack in it. Niccolo Machiavelli observed in The Prince that the men who maintained the most durable authority were almost never the most verbally expressive ones. He noted that a prince who justified every decision at length invited every person in the room to treat that justification as an opening for debate, effectively converting a decision into a negotiation through the act of explaining it. Silence communicates a self-sufficiency that explanation permanently undermines. It signals that your position requires no external support to stand. In any room, in any confrontation, in any moment where the urge to explain arrives loudest, pause. Say less. Let them wonder. The wondering is worth more than any answer you could give. Number 7. Become the standard, not the exception. You've been treating your best behavior as something you offer selectively, reserved for moments that matter or for people who've earned it. What you haven't noticed is that the people who become impossible to lose don't operate that way. Their standard isn't situational, it's consistent. And that consistency converts a person from someone people appreciate into someone people cannot afford to lose. Niccolo Machiavelli observed in The Prince that the most secure princes weren't the ones who performed brilliantly in isolated moments of high visibility. They were the ones whose consistency made excellence the expectation rather than the exception. He noted that reputation isn't built through peaks. It accumulates through the relentless, unspectacular repetition of the same standard applied across every interaction, regardless of audience or stakes. Every room you enter, at the same level of intentionality, adds to a reputation that eventually precedes you into rooms you haven't entered yet. Become the standard, not occasionally, every time, until the standard and the man are indistinguishable. 7 principles, each one pointing at the same quiet truth. You don't become rare by demanding to be treated as rare. You become rare by building something so specifically, so consistently, so completely yours, that the alternative to having you is a gap nobody can adequately fill. Niccolo Machiavelli never advised being difficult for its own sake. He advised being genuinely, structurally, irreplaceably valuable, so that the fear of your absence does the work that no demand ever could. Now go to the comments and answer this honestly. What is the one thing you've been giving freely to someone who has never once shown any fear of losing it? Write it. 1 sentence. No softening. Because naming what you've been undervaluing is the first step toward making someone else afraid to lose it. Like this video. Share it with someone still making themselves too easy to keep. And subscribe, because what's coming next will make this feel like the introduction.